very good Saturday afternoon to you. Watching KTN Weekend at 1. My name is Najma Ismail. Now, Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto has warned against turning the Sunday service tomorrow to be attended by President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto into a political arena. The president and his deputy have been invited for a Sunday service at the Africa Gospel Church in Bomet, Isaac Ruto's turf. The Bomet governor is embroiled in a war of words with the deputy president in what is being construed as a supremacy battle for the control of the Rift Valley.
Tuje tuwakaribishe kwa shamba. Ama namna gani? Hatutaki maneno ya siku hiyo. Leo siku ya Jumapili tunakuja kwa maombi. Ama namna gani?
Now, next week on Wednesday, East African leaders will meet in Dar es Salaam to discuss the crisis in Burundi. Ahead of the meeting, President Uhuru Kenyatta has urged the parties to the current dispute in Burundi to open up for dialogue as the only way to end the political impasse in the country. Bloody clashes have been going on in Burundi as those opposed to a third term for President Pierre Nkurunziza hold violent protests. Speaking at State House Nairobi as he met COMESA Committee of Elders chaired by Bethel Kiplagat and EAC eminent persons, Kenyatta said mutual agreement by all parties to the dispute will ensure that the electoral process brings peace to Burundi. He said the continued civil unrest in Burundi's capital, Bujumbura, was not only a threat to the country's stability, but the whole of the East African region. Now, on the Red Cross celebrations in Meru County, the Kenya Red Cross staff paid a visit to the female inmates at the Meru GK prison to mark 50 years of service to the country. The members, together with the inmates and prison staff, danced to classic tunes and shared meals together in commemoration of the society's Golden Jubilee in Kenya. Now, the society also donated foodstuff and toiletries to the prison, as well as baby clothes and pampers for the prison mothers. Take a look. Now, still on the Red Cross story, the Kenya Red Cross Society marked 50 years of service in the country at a colorful event at the KICC. The Society's Secretary General, Abbas Gulet, thanked Kenya's successive government for supporting the humanitarian organization since 1965, when it was officially recognized by an act of parliament. Event graced by President Uhuru Kenyatta and Cabinet Secretary for Planning and Devolution Anne Waiguru was held concurrently with the World Red Cross Day, usually held on the 8th of May. Now, the Kenya Red Cross currently has 800 staff members and over 70,000 volunteers with over 64 branches countrywide. President Uhuru Kenyatta pledged to continue supporting the efforts made by Kenya Red Cross in the country in dealing with disaster management.
National Red Cross and Red Crescent Society's full diplomatic status with accompanying privileges. In recognition of the work of the Kenyan Red Cross, my government has complemented the Society's efforts by zero-rating VAT on relief goods and services and by waiving import duties for the Society.
50 years is a major milestone for any institution and signifies a journey of commitment, resilience, and diligence. I take this earliest opportunity to convey my congratulations to the Kenya Red Cross Society as it marks its Golden Jubilee on this day.
That Kenya Red Cross appreciates and has not enough words to say thank you to its government. We work with all ministries in the counties at the national level.
Now, heavy rains in Narok town and its environs continue to wreak havoc as many people continue losing property. Businessmen and residents along the flood path say they are now incurring damages almost every day. Many people have lost their jobs as no businesses are currently running in most parts of Narok town. Even as the county government and the national government struggle to renovate the affected bridges and the roads, the flood waters are carrying with them some of their building materials.
Hiyo kasi ya maji ya Narok Town, nafikiri nyinyi wote mnajua imekuwa hapo kwa miaka 50 zaidi tangu uhuru ipatikane. Si ni kweli? Tangu tunayawe governor ni miaka 2. Juzi wakati maji nakuja, najua iko watu sikuishi kwa kaunti hii, chochote ikifanyika, nasema tu ni tunai. Chochote, anything ambayo inafanyika kaunti hii, hata maji mimi ndio nililete.
Now, this being a weekend, we want to treat you to a video that has gone viral on the internet with over 2.5 million viewers in the last few days. It is a video shot in Kabale in western Uganda of a dance called Chita Guru and a song in the language of Luchiga. Take a look.
The one that excites us is one that...
Your talent-based career comes to an abrupt, unexpected ending. What should you do? Do you fold up and retire in bitterness, or do you reinvent yourself and keep going? KTN's Masi Kandia now brings us the inspirational story of a 3-time marathon winner whose athletics career screeched to a halt because of an injury. Now, that world-famous athlete is making big strides in careers he would never have dreamt of. Take a look.
It's not the kind of shoes that made him famous, but that's what he's using now to run in this field as a dairy farmer.
I'm a retired athlete, a farmer at the moment, a student, a tea farmer, poultry farmer, everything. I'm wearing all the hats.
As an athlete, Felix Limo won consecutively in 4 major marathons.
I hope no one has ever done. I won the big 5. I won 3 of the big 5 marathons consecutively.
As his star shone bright, he met one barrier in his then flourishing career, that which pushed him to retire at 32 years of age.
I decided to let me retire 2012. Why? I've already attained 15 years in running career. Secondly, I asked myself, if I'm busy chasing money, maybe I'm busy destroying my spine. So I say, let me retire. God has blessed me, and there's success outside athletics.
It's not only farming that has his hands full. Felix went back to school, ignoring the mockery of his peers.
There's an attitude, people think that an athlete is a is a Form 1 or Standard 7 dropout. I wanted to show the world that an athlete also can study a very hard course like a veterinary medicine. So that's why I wanted also to prove.
He studies animal science at the University of Eldoret. His farm in Kapseret area of Uasin Gishu County is one that tells a different story. Other than the now common stories of athletes retiring after injuries and drowning in alcohol, Limo says it trickles down to one thing.
What you should practice all the time is honest. Be honest. Whenever I'm free from the house, we normally stay in Europe. I normally ask my manager, I want to go out. And the out that I was going is visiting farms, to develop farms, to gain knowledge. You know, no one has a monopoly of knowledge.
A few meters from the farm is Felison's school, one of his recent projects, a school he now runs. With time, Limo tells me he wants to be known for going against all odds, be not only a good father, but a success story to his boys and to the young crop of athletes.
And I stuck with Patrick Sang, and he mentored me, taught me so many things. So I call him my second mentor, because after my grandfather, Patrick Sang came in.
Crossing the tape a few years back was the mark of a win, a champion, the product of hard work. Fast forward, the product of his hard work, now in his education, looking forward to graduating and the farming that enables him to cater for his family. Felix now runs in a different field, that of farming. He says in his own words that he's running away from failure, that after an injury, an athlete's life should continue for the better. Marcy Kandie, KTN, Kapseret, Uasin Gishu County.
An amazing story there by Marcy Kandie. With that, and now take a short break, but I will be back with more news. Welcome back. Now, Prime Minister David Cameron's Conservatives win a stunning victory in Britain's election, which cuts short the careers of his top three rivals and puts the country's European Union future in doubt. Cameron is spending the weekend finalising his first all-Conservative cabinet. Here's more.
David Cameron is back in Downing Street, a happy man after a surprise election victory. Against most predictions, his party has won a slim but outright majority.
I will now form a majority Conservative government. I've been proud to lead the first coalition government in 70 years, and I want to thank all those who worked so hard to make it a success.
The crushing defeat for Labour means opposition leader Ed Miliband has stepped down.
This has clearly been a very disappointing and difficult night for the Labour Party. We haven't made the gains we wanted in England and Wales. And in Scotland, we've seen a surge of nationalism overwhelm our party.
The Scottish National Party indeed took seat after seat, decimating Labour north of the border. The victory could increase pressure for a fresh referendum on Scottish independence, even though that was rejected just last September.
The SNP goes to Westminster to make Westminster better for people in Scotland that we represent, but in the process for people across the UK.
The biggest losers are the Liberal Democrats, the junior partners in Cameron's coalition government. They're perceived to have lost credibility in power, particularly over an increase in university tuition fees. Leader Nick Clegg stepped down in front of party supporters.
Clearly the results have been immeasurably more crushing and unkind than I could ever have feared. Fear and grievance have won. Liberalism has lost.
London's stock market surged as investors welcomed a clear result and the prospect of more austerity cuts. Cameron's government is also crucially committed to holding an in-out referendum on Europe by 2017.
He ultimately doesn't want to leave the European Union, and I think probably his view is that would not be a good thing for Britain. But there are elements on his party who are going to be empowered by the fact that he only has a very small majority. And how he's going to reconcile these different interests probably will be the central challenge of this second term of his premiership.
Dramatic election results that don't only redraw the political map of the UK, but could redefine the country's future in Europe and beyond as well.
Now, away from the UK elections, Mali's popular romance novels are helping to challenge traditional notions of womanhood in the West African nation. Take a look.
Jarabi, in the Malian language Bambara, is the word for love. It's also the title given to an unprecedented collection of romance novels. The stories, all written by women, tell tales of young couples caught between tradition and the modern world. They're giving a rare voice to women's intimate feelings. And it's hoped they will also encourage more women to read in a country where as few as 1 in 4 women are literate.
Le fait qu'elles se reconnaissent et dans le contexte.
The fact that readers can relate to each other, the setting, the problems, the characters, means this could perhaps break the negative impression they have of reading.
L'image rébarbative qu'elles ont de la lecture.
Mali has one of the world's worst literacy rates. Though more adult men can read and write than women, it's still less than half the population. But young women have found inspiration through these new role models.
Elles ont des parcours remarquables.
They do very well at school. I'd like to be like them. And on top of that, they behave very well. They have good jobs in good companies, and they are very well paid.
The novels also blend Mali's traditional cultures with modern influences.
C'est ce que j'évoque dans celui que je suis en train d'écrire.
The relationships we experience every day, that's what I try to bring to my writing, because it's the reality. We think it's only in Western countries, but that's not the case. How can a young Malian woman have an online romance? That's what we can discover.
Vivre une histoire d'amour par Internet.
5 Jarabi titles have already been published, with more in the pipeline. It's hoped this will help Malians turn the page on a way of life where reading has been neglected and help give rise to the country's next generation of writers.
Now we come back home again. KU South MP Jackson Kiptanui has asked his counterparts in the cattle-rustling-prone areas of Baringo, West Pokot and Turkana counties to take responsibility for the attacks that have claimed over 66 lives. However, members of the West Pokot County Assembly, led by Majority Leader Simon Kalekem, have come out in defense of West Pokot Senator Professor John Lonyangapuo over the allegations that he incited and fueled the recent attacks in Nadome.
Members of the West Pokot County Assembly came out to rally support for their Senator Professor John Lonyangapuo against accusations of fueling animosity and skirmishes among communities living along the common border between Baringo and Turkana counties.
Nadome kule wamama wa Turkana wakuchinjwa, lakini wa Pokot ndio wachinjwa. Nani walivamia wale wengine? Ni wa Pokot walivamia Turkana au Turkana walivamia wa Pokot?
But speaking at Kapchorwa in neighboring Elgeyo Marakwet County, KU South MP Jackson Kiptanui has asked leaders in areas prone to banditry and cattle rustling to come clean on attacks that have turned their areas into killing fields.
Marafiki wenzetu waseme ukweli, na ikiwa wao they are playing some part kwa hii mambo ya cattle rustling, pia sheria wachukuliwa hatua. Siziale, haiwezekani kusema kwamba watu kama 50 wanawawa na viongoza wajui. It's not possible. Yeah, haiwezekani.
Early this week, members of the Turkana and Pokot communities engaged each other in a gunfight that led to the massacre of over 70 people. The fight was sparked by a livestock raid by bandits suspected to have come from Turkana County. Leaders from West Pokot County are crying foul, claiming their community has been unfairly targeted by the government for the killings. Cabinet Secretary for Interior Joseph Kaiseri this week directed West Pokot Senator Professor John Lonyangapuo to record a statement over what he knows about the Nadome killings. Leaders in West Pokot have criticized Kaiseri's directive, arguing Lonyangapuo comes from West Pokot County and not Baringo or Turkana counties.
Tungetarajia kwamba Waturkana ndio wavamizi, viongozi wao ndio wangekuwa na record statement sasa. But imebadilishwa. I know our team is doing good to give information. But pengine counterparts wenu wako Baringo, wako Turkana, they give wrong information so that West Pokot County people ambao wanapenda amani, ambao wanatengeneza county peace forum, wanaonekana ni watu wabaya.
Fika Jumanne tunataka aseme anaomba msamaha Senator Lonyangapuo kwa kumtaja kwamba alipanga ujambazi. Lonyangapuo kupanga ujambazi. Lonyangapuo analia Kwa sababu watoto na sisi wote kama viongozi wa Pokot na Baringo tunalia wale watoto walichinjwa.
KU South MP wants all leaders in Turkana and Baringo counties where the attacks occurred to be investigated.
Na tumechoka kusikia kwamba serikali itafanya hivi, na hakuna kitu inafanyika. Kama kuna viongozi ambao wamehusika, washikwe, wastakiwe na sheria ifanye kazi yake.
The leaders have called on their counterparts in Baringo County to play a key role in ensuring that the boundary stalemate is resolved and find lasting solution to peace. The West Pokot County Assembly members have organized a series of peace meetings aimed at ending the frequent border conflicts with their neighboring county of Turkana. Patrick Amimo, KTN.
Moving on to sports now, the penultimate leg of the 2014-2015 International Rugby Board Sevens, the Glasgow Sevens, is arguably the Kenya's toughest pool this season. The final two legs are particularly important for Kenya, a team which is fighting to retain her core status, but all teams are sharpening their arsenal for a ferocious battle.
Kenya's performance during the 2014-2015 HSBC World Sevens Series has been underwhelming. Shujaa currently plays 13 on the log with 33 points. Is geared to work out some magic in Scotland this weekend and pull a surprise performance in order to lift its status on the overall world rankings.
Oh, what a sequence.
Kenya has to navigate through a tricky Pool B, which has series leaders South Africa, New Zealand and Samoa. On paper, Kenya has no way out if the past performance is anything to go by.
And what a beginning.
A strong finish will most probably favour the homeboys in the final leg in London a week later. Kenya starts her Scotland leg with a clash against third-place New Zealand at 2:20 p.m. Kenyan time. The next match will be at 5:04 against South Africa before the final group match against Samoa at 8:15 p.m. Kenya is obviously in a very difficult pool, and there is no hiding place for Shujaa, who have to beat the best so as to become the best.
Brazilian sports officials remain hopeful that a new anti-doping laboratory will be approved next week by the Montreal-based World Anti-Doping Agency. WADA revoked the credential of Rio's lab in 2013 because of what it termed as repeated failures in meeting agency standards. Now, officials want a new lab up and running for next year's Rio de Janeiro Olympics. The executive secretary of the Brazilian Sports Ministry, Ricardo Leisa, helped conduct a tour of the new lab without an accredited lab. Doping samples from last year's World Cup were flown to a lab in Switzerland for testing. More than 5,000 blood and urine tests were performed at the 2012 London Olympics. The Rio number will probably be higher.
Para vocês terem uma ideia, no caso dos Jogos Olímpicos, vai ter o nosso aqui, o nosso organismo processou e
vira pra gente aí. Vai virar bem pra gente aqui.
Ulinzi Stars today signed a co-sponsorship agreement with UAP Insurance, a deal which will last up to the end of the season, with a possible extension to the 2016 season. UAP sales manager Bernardo Mburu signed the deal on behalf of his company, while Ulinzi Stars club chairman Colonel Juma Shea Munyikai received the sponsoring document. Ulinzi already has Engine as the club's main sponsors. Now, the logos of the two companies will be on the jersey, expected to be used for the match against Chemelil on Sunday. The Defence Forces side are ranked 5th with 15 points.
So we have a good event.
We have a bigger plan. It's not just we are coming in for 1 year, then we have a bigger plan for the future. We will live in over 10 years.
We believe that the partnership will go a long way in motivating the team and assisting the team in its day-to-day running.
Now, Derrick Rose banked in a ridiculous 26 6-foot three-pointer over Tristan Thompson at the buzzer Friday night to give the Bulls a pulsating 99-96 victory over the Cavaliers that maintained home court advantage in their Eastern Conference semi-final series. In the first quarter, LeBron James passed Tony Parker, Steve Nash, and finally Larry Bird. 1,062 assists for fourth place in NBA postseason history in assists. Now, Rose scored 24 of his 30 points in the second half and added 7 rebounds and 7 assists. He combined with Jimmy Butler, who scored 17 of his 20 points in the second half, to score 23 of the Bulls' 25 fourth quarter points. James, on the other hand, led the Cavs with 27 points and 14 assists to go with 8 rebounds. He shot 8 of 25 from the field and committed 7 turnovers. Rose scored 30 points.
But the drama wasn't over just yet, as Rose had the final say.
Looking, finds Rose. Rose trying to get open, fires away. Bang! It's over! The Bulls win at the buzzer!
Well, thank you very much for watching The Weekend at 1. My name is Najma Ismail. I can see Joy Doreen Bira right there getting ready for Africa Speaks.